So, Keith, we know that Alibi Cloud DS is applicable in a lot of different situations and a lot of different applications. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about retail applications specifically and why this cloud solution is so perfect.
So retail is one of the highest users of video security. They've got a lot of assets they have to protect. They're worried about employee theft, so you've got a lot of things like registers you want to cover, safe rooms. They have cameras kind of everywhere. What a lot of people don't take into consideration is as the shift from closed circuit TV to IP-based video and even remote access has taken place, they're not looking at making sure that the network integrity itself is secure. There are guidelines called PCI guidelines for compliance. Anytime you have a payment system in place that has customer information, you have to have certain things set up a certain way to make sure that that database can't be breached. No one wants a data breach. I've had 3 data breaches on me from multiple retailers over the past 5 years, and no one likes to get that email saying, "Hey, by the way, we had a breach and you may have been exposed." Video security is like any other IP device. Once you put it on a network, it's got to be secure. And to stay in PCI compliance, that means if you want that system to transmit video out of that location, you have to do one of 3 things. One, you have to get a second internet drop and completely segment that for remote traffic so that it does not touch your payment network at all. That's the only secure way to do it if you're going to try to do traditional port forwarding on a system, because that is still kind of the easiest way to get a system online, but it is very unsecure when it comes to opening up ports and holes in your firewall. The second way would be to use a VPN service, which larger corporations, absolutely. They probably already have it in place because they have managers that need to access things on the network. But when you talk about your average small business, small, medium business retailer, they're not paying for a corporate VPN. They probably don't even hire an IT staff. So they may be putting systems in, and they may not even know that they're in violation by trying to, just because they're saying, I want to see my video when I'm not there. So the third way would be moving to a secure cloud platform, which is what we're here to talk about. So with the Alibi Cloud solution, when the cameras go online, we do transmit out of the building, but we do it on an encrypted basis, and it is an outbound rule only. So as that traffic leaves the building, there is no way for a malicious attack attempt to come through that transmission to get into the retailer.
Because it's outbound.
It's outbound only. Well, 2 reasons. 1, because it's outbound only. 2, because it's a TLS handshake, so it's encrypted. They can't get on that to try to get in the building. So it's kind of a two-pronged attack to that. And the benefit for that, for you, is you don't have to do anything special to make that happen. So you're not having to go into your firewall. You're not having to go into any rules to make sure the network's secure. It's inherently secure because of how we make that connection. So it makes it a lot easier to deploy. You can do a lot of things with on-premise, but again, it's natively easier when you move to cloud.
Yeah, gotcha.
Enhanced security for the system is another big conversation. Retailers do get robbed. It's one of those things that no one likes to talk about, but there's a chance that if you put a recorder on site, it can be taken. And we actually have had that happen very recently with our sales team sharing with us that 2 weeks after being installed, a retailer got robbed and they took the recorder. It's one of those that people like to think, oh, it's a myth. Like no one ever actually takes the recorder. It happens more times than
if they're smart, they're casing the place, right?
Exactly.
So they know how they're going to get in and get out with what they want.
It happens a lot more than people want to admit. But so not having a recorder on site inherently makes the retailer's evidence a lot more secure because there's no chance for it to be kind of stolen off site. And then with the enhanced security is you're not able to tamper with the system. So employee theft is by far one of the biggest things that retailers have to worry about. The statistics on how many people might actually try to steal something from a retailer that work for them are astronomically high. It's above 60%. And depending upon where that recorder is located, it may be in a shared office. You have one management office, and if someone goes in there, they can unplug the recorder. Or if they know the password, they could go in and they could reformat a hard drive.
Or delete specific footage or whatever.
And next thing you know, you think you're secure, but you're not secure because of the physical aspect of where the recorder is located. So cloud is going to eliminate that. The video's off-site, access is all done remote. There is no piece of hardware for anyone to touch in terms of where the evidence is being stored.
Gotcha.
Evidence retention is a big one too, and evidence can be thought of a couple of ways. One, you've got, burglaries, you've got employee theft, and a lot of people don't think about, in retailers, you may want to protect yourself from litigation from, slip and fall cases.
Yeah, accidents, right.
Accidents happen, you could have liquid on the floor, someone slips, they could have really slipped, they could have fallen down, and you want to make sure the video is stored. And with cloud, we can do very long-term storage very easily. So if you want to protect yourself for, say, a year, you could buy a year subscription or, say, just one camera. And that one camera now, looking at that hot zone for where you think you may have the most accidents,
Right.
it's secure and stored, and that can complement, an on-premise, or it could just be part of a total cloud package.
Gotcha.
So it makes it a lot easier to stay in compliance. And then multi-site management, whether you have one location or whether you have, 50 if you're a retailer, cloud allows you to centrally control that platform. So you access your system from one console, you log in, you create users, you make rules, grant permission levels, do footage playback, export. It's all done centrally. So you're not having to worry about going to each location or logging into each location at any given time to get what you need. It's all done kind of from one place.
Right, and for retailers, we've talked about it before, being able to view surveillance systems regionally, specific areas of the store, like you said, hot zones, restaurants and bars, if they want that cloud coverage on the bar in order to cover statute of limitations for over-serving or any accidents that happen there, and be able to do that across multiple locations, it's easy to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Seeing the videos is pretty easy, and that can be done a lot of ways. Cloud isn't the first person to think about multi-viewing management, right? But when it comes to credential management, if I'm the one that has to manage my users, and I'm the system admin, and I have 50 stores, and I'm going to have to give 5 users per store access to that,
Right.
the last thing I want to do is have to do it on a per recorder basis.
Right.
That stacks up to 100 credentials you're having to remember to manage. If I have to delete one, I got to remember what box it was on so I can get to it. Cloud is going to centralize that, so it's one window, one console. I can do it all very, very quickly and easily.
Well, that's why when you talk about retail, you talk about IT is such a critical part of any retail organization, and then loss prevention is as well. To your point, shrink happens a lot with employees. That's where it starts. Directors within those two areas, LP directors and IT directors, love cloud because it's simple, plus the PCI compliance is just an added bonus, right? It checks all the boxes.
It's a natural fit for something that they're going to have to do anyway, but it takes a lot of workload off of their hands.
Yeah.